Hello everyone. I am Jackie from Pocket of Preschool, and I'm so excited you're here tonight because I am showing you the brand new 3D Shapes unit that is part of the Little Learners Math Curriculum. So if you own the Little Learners Math Curriculum, download it again because this will be there. And if you want to grab just this unit, not the whole curriculum, the link is at the top of this post, and you will also find at the top of this post links to my Amazon list, which has a lot of the manipulatives I like and use. They're linked up there, as well as just some other helpful links for you guys, like my newsletter, sign up, all the things. So I want you to tell me in the comments, one, what grade do you teach, and what 3D shapes do you teach? Because I know everybody is different. Like for me, when I taught preschool, I just kind of touched on 3D shapes. We did mostly just the four basic ones: cone, sphere, cube, and cylinder, because those were like a lot of the blocks we had. I know my kiddos, when they went to kindergarten, they did 6 of the 7 3D shapes. So I just kind of am curious, and I'm sure everybody else is too. Tell me what 3D shapes either you want to teach or you are required to teach in what grade in the comments. But that is, every state is different. That's why I don't really put standards in. I know Common Core is general across the board, so that's kind of what I tailor a lot of the units to, or I go right below Common Core, kind of like a level under, because that would be like the preschool level, right? So again, today we're talking all about the 3D shapes unit. So in the unit, you will find binder covers or labels, and you can I like to do my units in like paper or those plastic sleeves, or you can also put your unit in a binder. That works too. This is the 2D shapes unit. And then I keep everything in these rainbow drawers from Michael's. I actually have 2 of them because there are so many units in the Little Learners Math Curriculum. And if you are new here, in it are teacher direction pages. There's a book list, and I'll show you some of the books in a minute, plus real photographs of it in action, and tons of worksheets are included. But I do include real photographs so you can kind of see how it can look in your classroom and how you can use it, and all the tips and tricks that you will need to teach this unit successfully. So I love using books, and I know a lot of you guys do too. But I'm not gonna lie, the 3D shapes book list is kind of sad because there's just not a lot of good or books really on 3D shapes. I did find this one. It's just 3D shapes. All of these books too are linked on my Amazon book list. If you click my Amazon list and then click math, they're all there. There is a little bit of extra text, so this is probably more for kinder. But you could definitely, if you're reading this with littles, like preschool, you could definitely read the big parts and talk a lot about the pictures. So that is My Path to Math book. There's also, this one's my favorite, so it's Captain Invisible and the Space Shapes. So it's one of the Math Start books. I love these books. But basically they're in outer space, and they find all of these different shapes. So it's fun to read during a space unit, like there's meteors and things like that. So this is another good one for 3D shapes. So Jack the Builder isn't technically about 3D shapes, but when he builds, he uses lots of different shaped blocks. So you could use this book to talk about 3D shapes, even though they're not in the actual text. And then there's your basic books, your nonfiction on just the different shapes. These you can tell I got from Amazon, and there used to be library books, but they're just great. Got real photographs, super simple text. And this is a capstone press. It is the 3D shape series. This one, like I got the cubes and the pyramids one. And then there's also the series by Jennifer Barthroyd. These are a smaller book. As you can see, it's about the size of my hand. But these have, again, super simple text. super simple pictures, but they have one of these on all of the 3D shapes too. So either set you can get your hands on, or maybe just some of them. And honestly, if you teach preschool, these would be really fun to put in the block center to support your block play. That would be fun too. So there's all of those fun books. So if you know any authors out there, tell them we need some new 3D shapes book, please. So yeah, and then let's talk manipulative. So I found these on Amazon. These are learning resources, and they come in, these are some 3D shapes, and they come in different sizes. I'll show you the Play-Doh tray because I have them in the Play-Doh tray. So you get about this, this many shapes. But I like them because they come in 3D sizes, so you can sort the shapes by size too. But you don't get that many. Like that's like literally the whole box almost. So there's those. And then there are also, I found these, like you could use them with a light table, but they are just some 3D shapes, but they're bigger. These would be really fun too, just to have out so they could explore and touch and feel the different 3D shapes. So those are the manipulatives, because everyone always asks me, like, what manipulatives do you use for that unit? So let me show you the Play-Doh tray since I started that out. So in the 2D shapes pack, I have shape builder cards, and you guys love those. So I made some for the 3D shapes too. Now I made these general ones, so they're just like a little builder with the shape, and then they're holding the shape, and then I have in the corner like a everyday object that would be that shape. So all the different shapes. Oh, let me tell you the shapes that are included in this unit. So we have rectangular prism, triangular prism, pyramid, cone, cylinder, sphere, oh, that's the cover, and cube. So those are the 7 shapes that this unit covers. I forgot to tell you that part. So again, these are just super simple build-it cards. So you could put these with any manipulative you have in your classroom. So if you have like these magnet blocks, and they're just gonna build like a cube with these, which would be totally fun to do. So you could put these out with any manipulative you have, would work with these. And I of course can't build it because this always happens to me when I'm on live. So that you could challenge them to build a cube, and they could build the cube with magnet blocks or magnet tiles. And like these are the they're like the ones that have like the little magnets on the corners, but these also come with the triangles, so you could build like the triangular prism with these and the pyramid with these. So that would be a fun way to do shape build it. And then they would also, you could even put out the cylinder and put out the sphere, and they could have to figure out that they can't make that shape with those blocks because they all have points. You can also put it out just with a Play-Doh tray. And again, I have Play-Doh, pipe cleaners. I do have some 3D shapes, sticks, and then these are those like match sticks that are by the popsicle sticks at the craft store. So what they could do is they could like make the sphere with just the ball Play-Doh. They could make the cylinder with the Play-Doh by rolling the snake and then smashing each side to make the face. Or they can also stamp the different 3D shapes in the Play-Doh, and you can talk about every time you stamp, you're stamping one of the faces of the shape, and if it doesn't roll, that would be a face. So when you stamp it, it stamps and you see a rectangle, so that's the face, that's one of the faces of the shape. So it would be, again, just exploring all the different characteristics of the shape. The cone would roll, so you would say, well, this a cone doesn't have a face because it rolls. Or they could even stamp the vertices of the different shapes and all the points to count them, which would be fun. And again, just kiddos manipulating and exploring all those fun 3D shapes with the fun 3D shaped Play-Doh tray. And obviously they could too, you know, make the little balls, the vertices, and use the sticks to make like the square and the pyramid and things like that too. That's a fun option for you to do. And then I also have these shape build-it cards that have the vertices marked, and then the edges, like, so you could use popsicle sticks, or toothpicks or popsicle sticks. I just think toothpicks are easier to manipulate, but they could make this. I let this one get hard, so that way I could show you guys on Facebook Live a little bit easier. But they make the vertices with the Play-Doh, and then they can make the shape with toothpicks, or you could do marshmallows. You could use like a themed candy, so if you're doing it around Easter, you could use jelly beans. If you're doing it around Christmas, you could use gumdrops. So any themed candy, so that's why I kind of made these open-ended, so you could kind of tie them into whatever season or holiday, just to kind of just make it extra fun for your kiddos. And then, like my other unit in the math curriculum, it comes with flashcards. So this set has different kinds of 3D shaped flashcards. So these are they're clip art, and they're more like everyday objects. So, and they have labels, so you could put all of these in the baggie to keep you organized, but just all different 3D shapes. And let's say you're only teaching those 4 shapes, like cone, sphere, cylinder, and cube. Then you don't have to print off like the triangular prism shape card. Just print off the ones that you teach, and then use those. And then it also has just a colored clip art set of shape cards, and you can put them on a book ring. You can put them in baggies. There is a black and white set, so if you wanted to make a set for each kiddo, especially if you're doing distance learning, put them in like that snack baggie size, and that works perfect. You can also put them on book rings, like I said. Whatever you want, do what works for you. And then there's also spinners with this set. So there's levels, because everyone teaches different 3D shapes. So I did 4 different levels for some of the games. So level 1, it has just the 4 shapes. Again, the cone, I can't talk, has these 4 shapes. And then set 2 has all of the shapes from the first level plus the pyramid. And then this one at level 4 adds the rectangular prism. And then the last level has all 7 shapes. So you pick the one that you do, or you can color code them and differentiate them. So like if I had these 4 shapes, you could make the shape cards for those games in blue. And then the next level you could do in green. Or if you are just teaching these 4 shapes, then just print off that spinner page and those shape cards. So totally do whatever works, again, for you, because everybody's different. And then with these spinners, you can either buy these transparent spinners. These are just off Amazon. And I have it linked on my favorites page, and you can tell I have tape on the edges. You just tape it down, and then they spin it, and then you're good to go, and then you can use it for a different game. Or you can have them put a pencil here and then spin with a paper clip, and they have kind of like their own spinner. So those are the flashcards for this unit. And then with the flashcards, you can do so much. So I'm gonna show you that in just 1 minute, but I wanna show you one more thing about like the leveled game. So also in this unit, just like the 2D shapes unit, there is a graphing game and there is a cover-up game. So these games come in both black and white, and this one comes in color too. So like this one, and in the corner, you'll see what level it is, because otherwise you can't really tell apart which ones they are, and these look similar too. So if you look in the corner, it'll tell you which one it is, so you'll know which ones to print off. But you could use magnet chips, and they spin the spinner, and then put that on the graph, and spin the spinner and put it on the graph, and whichever shape gets to the top wins. And then they use the magnet wand. We'll just pretend like these are all on my board to clean off their board. Bingo chips are so much fun to use for cover-up games or any kind of game, because at the end they get to clean their board with your thing. So yeah, so you can do cover-up this way. But if you want, I'm going to show you the levels, and you guys know I color code all the things. So this is level 1. So again, it just has those 4 shapes, and then on the cover-up board it has the 4 shapes. And then I have the spinner to go with it. And then level 2, you have 5 shapes with the 5 shapes. And you can print it off too, and they can color it in the graph. Totally up to you. Or again, they can also use dot markers. So again, there's so many ways to use these games with your classroom. Figure out what your kiddos like. Do they love dot markers? Do they love stickers? Do they love bingo chips? Do what they like and then play it that way. Level 3 again has the 6 shapes, and then it'll have 6 shapes on the cover up mat. And you can use mini erasers too, those are really fun. And then level 4 has all 7 shapes for you. Oh, and you can also use, you can even use like counters, like cubes or whatever, transportation counters, whatever you have. They can spin the spinner and then cover up the shape, spin the spinner, cover up the shape, spin the spinner, cover up the shape. So fun cover up and a fun graphing game to teach 3D shapes. Those are empty trays. Oh, and if anybody's wondering where these trays are from, you can either get them from Lakeshore, but they only come in 4 colors, or they are from the Target Dollar Spot during back to school. Sometimes Michael's has them too. So, oh, if you are wondering about worksheets, so this 3D Shapes pack has 3 sets of worksheets. So the first worksheet is your basic, the one that you would see where the kiddos label how many faces, edges, and vertices for each shape. And again, if you look in the corner, I have it labeled for you. So this is like the level 4. This one is level 3 with the 6 shapes, 5 shapes, and 4 shapes. So that way you can print out the ones you're teaching. And that way you could also use this as a end of the unit assessment. So you could give them one at the beginning as a pre-assessment and one at the end as an end assessment if you need to. If not, don't use it. And then I also have these sorting boards, and these have the real photographs. So it's up to you. You can use the clip art ones or the real photographs. All right, so now let's talk about sorting. So sorting shapes. I did this when I did my 2D shapes unit. I would use this as a transition, and it's kind of a mini assessment. So it's like a giant poster board, not giant, just a normal size poster board. And on the one side, I made it to have like a stripe down the middle with just some tape. So it has 2 sides, or 2 sections, and then this one has 4. So what I would do is I would put out some objects, and whatever shape I wanted to see if they knew yet, I would say, is it a cylinder or is it not a cylinder? And because 3D shape manipulatives are kind of hard to come by, you can just go around your classroom and collect everyday objects. You can also put the shape manipulatives in here too, if your kiddos like more concrete things. But this is just, again, just a whole bunch of stuff. I just walked around my classroom in my house. Honestly, what I did was I looked at the objects that were on these shape cards, and I kind of went around and collected those. Just because I'm like, oh, where's a cone? I grabbed an ice cream cone out of my pantry. Or a party hat. I have these for my blocks, and I rebuild with them. So yeah, so a real fun, easy assessment to do for a transition. Put this on the floor, and they can say cylinder, not a cylinder. They walk up, grab a shape or grab an object, and they go cylinder or not a cylinder. And then the next kid walks up, puts it down, and then they go transition. Super simple, super easy way to assess and like check and see how they're doing. Or if you don't want to do something so simple as cylinder, not a cylinder, you can sort. And you could also do too, just put out like cylinder and cone. Is it a cylinder or is it a cone? And just put out those things that are those shapes. You could also do it in 4s. You can see. There we go. You can put it out. And again, if you don't want to have real objects, just put out your basket of cards, and they can come up, pick one, and they can say, oh, that's a sphere, and they would put it there. Oh, that's a cube, and put it there. So again, they're just sorting, and you pick the shapes you put on here. So if you teach 4 shapes, put out 4 shapes. Maybe you've introduced 5 of them, so make a poster board with 5 sections. You pick what you want to do with your kiddos, and what you're required to teach. But this is really fun too to put at the math table. Just put it literally on the table and just set it out. You don't have to glue it down, and just put out either a bucket of real objects or a bucket of cards. I would do this all the time when we did 2D shapes in my classroom. And the kiddos loved it because they loved sorting the real shapes or the real objects into the thing. They wouldn't sort the cards as much. They would always sort all of this first, and then once all of these things were gone, then they would sort these. And if you want to take it to a higher level, you can also sort. I hit myself in the face with my necklace. You could do vertices or no vertices. You could also do faces or no faces. You could also do edges or no edges. Oh, I forgot to tell you, this unit also has full page posters for each shape. I forgot. They're actually hanging on the wall back there, so I'm not going to go grab them because I'll probably knock over the camera. But there are shape posters for this unit. And then there's also a poster that has, it's literally these 3 vocabulary words, just all on one: edges, faces, and vertices. So that's extra fun. So you could put that on the wall and then put the sorting board out, and then you would have a fun math center. So let's say you do this as a transition or for small group, and you want them to do something independently after to kind of see how they are doing. Just throw that over there. What you can do are these sorting mats. So I have a page that has each one. So it has like cube, not a cube, cone, not a cone for each one. And then there's also one that have like the vertices, no vertices, with the different characteristics too. And then it also comes with pages of shapes. So you can either make a whole bunch, this is what I do, and then I just put the basket out, and then I just copy the shapes on Astro Brights paper, and then they sort the shapes by whatever's at the top. Or so there's the regular simple old clip art 3D shapes, or to make it extra fancy for this unit, I did the real object and I just put them in grayscale, so that way you can copy them easier for your copier. You can also give each kiddo, like this is one sheet, you can give each kiddo 2 strips, you can give each kiddo 1 strip, you can give each kiddo half a sheet, up to you, and then they can sort with the real objects too. So up to you. Again, I like to give you guys lots and lots of choices, and that way your kiddos don't get bored. You can do it at the level that they need to be at. You can do it simple. You can make it trickier if you want to use everyday objects. Totally up to you. Totally up to you. And again, super simple. I just color copy it on some fun Astro Bright paper to just make it colorful. So colorful. What next? Oh, let's do, okay, this is, I think, my favorite, and my own kiddos who are now not in preschool anymore. We're like, oh my gosh, Mom, we love this unit. Guess what we did? I made, because everybody loves snacks. Kiddos love food. We love food. I made a 3D shape snack sort. Now, I only put the 5 shapes on there because it's really hard to find a pyramid and some of the other shapes that aren't on here. But what I did is in the unit, you will find ideas for you for each shape. So you can use a pretzel rod for the cylinder. You can use bugles for the cones. You could also use real ice cream cones. Cubes would be little caramels. You could use Kit Kats or those sugar wafer crackers for rectangular prisms. There's so many different cereals. I just wanted something colorful, plus my kids love this cereal, even though it's not healthy at all. The Oops All Berries Captain Crunch. They are perfect spheres if you want to be healthier. You can do Kix. There are healthy options on here. You can also do blueberries. So if you don't want to do, you know, all these horrible, make it all candy and get them all sugar crazy, there are healthy options for you too. Tootsie Rolls are cylinders, marshmallows are cylinders. A Hershey Kiss is a cone. You could also do colored mini marshmallows. These colored mini marshmallows are also fun to do for the building with shapes, just to kind of, you know, add some spark to the white marshmallows. Cheese balls, those work too. And you guys, you only have to buy one container for each shape and the whole class can share. Cocoa Puffs are spheres too. So yeah, so there's lots of ideas, but you can give everybody a little cup for their snack, and then they can sort it on their board, and then you can celebrate and eat it at the end. And maybe you can eat it while you're watching like a YouTube video or something on 3D shapes, or maybe a Jack Hartman video that's on 3D shapes. So, fun little snack sort. And then, to keep the real photographs and real objects going, I did a shopping for shapes sort. So, there are shape cards in there that are all real objects. So, a pyramid for the Eiffel Tower, a brick Lego for the rectangular pyramid, but all kinds of real pictures. And what they would do is, I just put these on cups. You could also put them on like little bags. So they're like a little shopping bag, and that way they just have somewhere to put it in. So, I can't see, but so they're shopping for ice, and the ice cubes go in the cube cart, and then they can sort the real objects into the different shopping carts. So that's another fun sorting game, because some of these shapes, especially if you have to teach triangular, sorry, I was listening to something. Triangular prism, or yeah, cone. Like some of them can be like kind of tricky, like cube and rectangular prism. Those can be kind of tricky, right? So some of these like real everyday shape sorting games. That's why there's a lot of sorting, because they look similar, but they're still different, right? So there's lots. That's why I have so many fun sorting games in this unit. And then, who doesn't love a good puzzle? So, I made, again, with the real shapes, these are some 3D shape puzzles. And again, if you were only teaching 4 shapes, just print out those 4 puzzles. If you're only teaching 6 shapes, just print out and cut and prep those 6 shapes. But there are shapes, all 7 of them for you guys. And again, I have the one that's the clip art shape, and then the rest are the real objects. And if you want to do like a self-check, what you can do is you can put, like if this is the yellow cylinder, you can put yellow dot stickers or just draw a little yellow dot on the back of all of them. So after they're done, they can flip it over and make sure that they have their puzzle together correctly. Because all the puzzle pieces are the same. So they could have like those 2 together and it would look the same, but that way if you put the dot on the back, they can self-check, which is always helpful, right? And they can check for themselves. So again, shape puzzle for your littles. What else? Oh, over here. I'm like surrounded by goodness. So it's everywhere. I know you guys love clip cards. So I made some for 3D shapes, and I don't know about you, but I don't know who doesn't love pancakes. So there are 3D shape pancake cards. So what they do is they identify the shape, they can say the name, and they simply just match the shape on the side, and they clip it on. So you're sneaking in some fine motor and matching shapes. So fun little game. And if you're wondering how I get beautiful colored clothespins, I spray paint them. I take a box and I clip all the clothespins on the box, and then I just spray paint all of them. So I think now it's easier to find fun colored clothespins, but like 5 years ago I couldn't find any, so I just made a whole bunch with spray paint. So anyways, I digress. So we have some 3D shape clip cards in a pancake theme. For all my golf pros out there, or kiddos who love golf, I did a golf theme 3D shaped clip cards for my shark lovers. I did, how cute are these, you guys? These are just some 3D shape. There's a sphere, 3D shaped shark clip cards. I tried to do kind of completely different ones for these, so that way if a kiddo is maybe interested, they love pancakes or maybe they love sharks, they can do those clip cards, and just, you know, to make it more fun and exciting. And then I have superheroes, little superhero shape clip cards. So again, they're just putting the clothespin in and matching it, sneaking in some fine motor as they pinch and squeeze and match. So those are really fun. And again, pick the activities you think your kiddos will love the most. There's tons in there. I think it's almost like 150 pages the unit is. It's really big. And then I have 2 more activities for you guys. So just like in the 2D shapes unit, and if you guys have any of my math curriculum, you know I try and kind of, I've kept it kind of cohesive and the same. So every unit has flashcards, every unit has worksheets, every unit has some kind of game. I try to use real photographs or a puzzle. So that way when your kiddos get out the next thing from the next unit, they're like, oh yeah, I've done that before, but it's a different topic or a different concept, but the same game, so they're not having to like reteach themselves. So you're not having to teach how to play the game. You can focus on the concept that they're doing. So we have these shape hunts, and they can either color it in, and you can, again, just use it as a worksheet, and they can just color it. And I have, again, one for each shape, so pick the ones that you want to do, or maybe you're the ones your kiddos are struggling with, or the ones you want to assess that day. So they can color it, or if you're not a worksheet type of person, and that's okay, use it as a cover-up mat. So we have the cover-up with the plain clip art shapes, so just print them off on different colored paper, and you can use pom-poms or cubes or mini erasers, and they can just find, well, mine, they'll roll, but they can find all of the different shapes that are on the board and cover them up. So again, 2 ways to play, and it's on the teacher direction pages too, so if you forget, no worries, I got you covered. It's in there with a real photograph of it in action. And then you gotta have an emergent reader. So there's 2 levels to this one too. So this one is just all about 3D shapes, and it's just identifying them. So this is a sphere, this is a cylinder, and it just goes through the names of the shapes. And then this one is 3D shapes all around, and it is, this is a sphere, a ball is a sphere. So it tells you, has you identify the object and identify something that is in their everyday life. That is that shape. So 2 books, and they can go in their book boxes, they can send them home, they can read them with their family, totally up to you. And I think that is all. Oh, one more. It's up here on the top shelf. So, if you are like me, I always had little engineers in my class, and if I put out something where they had to build or they had to construct something, you have your little artists and your little engineers and your tinkerers. If I put out something where they had to build or make or create, or those little artists, they were hooked. So I made a STEM challenge for 3D shapes. So this, you can play it, you can do it 2 ways depending on kind of what you have in your classroom, or you can get. So this one is just 3D shape sculptures. So this one is just going to be using items that you can either collect, like if you know this unit is coming home, start collecting all of those things, or you can put it in the block center or with whatever blocks you have in your classroom, and they can make 3D sculptures with the blocks, but it's more of a it's a more structured, I guess, build. So as they're building, you want them to be saying, okay, as you build these 3D shape sculptures, I want you to talk about what shapes are you building with. Are you building with spheres? Are you building with cylinders? Are you building with cones? Like, what are you building with? So in order to help you get some of these things to build with, included is a parent note. And that way you can put what day you want it back. And if you're doing virtual, just take a screenshot of this and you can send it home in your newsletter. But it also has ideas for them. So it tells them the different shapes and it tells them ideas. So like for cone, it says snow cone cups or party hats. So maybe they have some extra snow cone cups at their house. You never know unless you ask, right? And if you only get 10 things sent in, it's 10 things you didn't have before. I know some teachers are like, my parents never send in anything. I ask and ask and ask and they never send anything. Well, you know what? If one parent decides to go crazy and collect things for you, they may bring in 3 shopping bags, because that's typically what used to happen to me. I would ask for donations, and it was different parents each time, and because I would ask for donations for dramatic play things too, and it would be different parents just because everybody's busy, different people are busy at different times, and sometimes I would have people bring whole shopping bags, 2 or 3 shopping bags, and then other parents wouldn't bring in anything. And you know what? It's okay. As long as you get something, that's all that matters. And especially, you know, if you have parents who are teachers, they'll probably send you some stuff in too. But like you can use snow cone cups, those styrofoam balls from the dollar store, pom-poms. My kids eat these cereal because they don't eat cereal soon enough before it goes stale. So we use these a lot at my house. Maybe you have some strawberry bins. You can get these. I had in my block center, so they can build up cans or tubes, straws, and then just tape. Maybe some parents are gonna send in some masking tape for you. But that way there's a note so you can send it in, and there's also a blueprint page. Now, don't freak out if you are pre-K and you're like, or preschool and you're like, my kiddos cannot draw, or it's gonna be a scribble. Well, no worries. Just take a picture of their building and then just put it in the corner wherever their picture isn't, and you can just glue it in there and they can have it, and then you can count and fill it in at the bottom. And again, I have one with a whole bunch of shapes and not as many, depending on how much stuff you have to build with. So they can be 3D shape sculptures, which is super fun. And they'll also notice things like, oh, I can't put the cone on the vertice because it falls over, or this cone is rolling, or my sphere keeps, rolling down, and they'll start talking about some of those shape properties as they're building, because different things will roll, different things will slide, different things will be strong and not strong, and all those things. So that is the 3D shapes unit. It's part of the math curriculum, Math for Little Learners curriculum. All right, well, I hope you guys have an amazing night, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.